Tell me what I'm fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no more now. Tell them wicked people. Fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Oh Lord, I say this is the year for love. Fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Silly boy, you ain't bad at all. Another one just gone. Buy a beat your chest and smile. Say you's a madman. Another young boy fall. You so careless that night. Oh, you's a bad man. Bad man is a man who just defend one and protect the young ones by any means, Lord. You ain't no bad man, boy, now. You ain't no bad man. A real bad man is decisions. You don't need anyone. You only need is God. You ain't no bad man, boy, now. You ain't no bad man. Stop. Sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people. I'm wicked and evil. Whoa. Stop. Sit down, rock back. Big man look from. You're too damn evil. If they distress my people, then fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Oh Lord, I say this is the year for love. Fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Silly boy, you ain't bad at all. Tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no water, there's no need. So tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no water. I said we don't want no water. All bad man to go on raping woman, influencing young ones to kill a boy now. You ain't no bad man, boy now.
Share the video, please.
All bad man works for whatever he wants and he don't
Share
need
it
no
on the
gun
friends.
for a joy now. That is a bad man soldier. You ain't no bad man, so sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people. I'm wicked and evil. Whoa. Stop. Sit down, rock back. Big man look for a walk. You're too damn evil. If they distress my people, then fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Oh Lord, I say this is the year for love. Fire go Bundy. Fire go Bundy. Silly boy, you ain't got a dog. Tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no water. So tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no water.
Will you share the video yet? Will you share it?
Oh, girl.
Share it up, share it up.
Yeah. Hey, take it slow. Show them who in control. Oh, sugar. Careful what you're doing. Careful how you're living, baby. This is not a movie. Live your life, but you could take it slow. Take it slow. Now
So I show up at PEP headquarters for a meeting this afternoon at 5:30. Earlier than 5:30, walk with my cup of tea, sit down in the meeting, the room packed, people already there, full team, people coming. So we end up with a packed house. And then halfway into the meeting, somebody brought up something that I didn't know that took place. Because I said, at that moment, I was in the hospital. And don't talk because none of y'all see me walking, and none of y'all, because you saw that I posted something about being in a hospital, and not one of y'all say, hey, how you feeling? And I realized that that's how they treat me. Like, all right, he alive, let me move forward. That is PEP family. Anyway, we laugh and we joke about that. Everybody was duly concerned with Superman. Now, if I take a picture of an X-ray machine and I post it, then that means I still have my faculties in order. So, and somebody else said to me that maybe I shouldn't share personal stuff like that. I don't know. I was in the hospital, I went to check something, took an X-ray, and I wanted to see if my brain was still in my head, and it's there. So, we're good to go. And it wasn't intended to scare anybody or frighten anybody about my condition. I am stronger than a Phillip, so yeah.
Welcome to the place. All we talk about is race. Race to the ocean, race to the mountain, race into the some ways. There's a lion down in the sun by the Orinoco Mountain with funk and fire, doom and desire. What place I'm talking about? Talking about Trinidad. We have the goods and the bad. Welcome to Trinidad, where have the country mad. Talking about TDO, Bacana, that's the way we flow. The shots will fire, words will tell when we hear our soul coming through. We can come by plane with a lie, or by a boat the coast garden sea. Water, this is no mama guy, this is the land of the free is free. Fire, so come on, come join the Lego. This is lawless not Trinity. So bend back and start the bubble. All of we is one family.
In Trinidad and Tobago, now, we're going to touch on a touchy subject. We are going to touch on the issue of the religious leaders who got together to say that bullers shouldn't bull. Now, and I had to be like this because clearly in the minds of the religious leaders that homosexuals and lesbians and people of the LGBTQRZ, all the letters they have, are less deserving of civil rights than they are. And I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago, we had, when we formed the Progressive Empowerment Party, we had to sit down and confront all the sacred cows, all the issues that nobody want to talk about. We discussed it. We weighed the pros and cons. We did research. We sought out professionals. We asked people. So, we took a position on everything. Political parties and politicians try to be all things to all people to fool them. I don't give a shit about you. But my problem with the gathering of the religious leaders is for all the things that are killing people in this country. This is what motivates you all to meet. I'm distressed at the Archbishop of Port of Spain. I'm distressed at him. Jason Gordon, my friend, he's my friend on Facebook. And I'm distressed that Jason would let himself be pulled into that bullshit. Sat Maraj fighting for the right of all men to marry baby girls. How could Sat Maraj think that he has the moral authority to tell anybody what to do with their lives? Him. and any of them. That lineup was missing Pasta Coffee and Berkey Burke for it to be a perfect circus. The truth of the matter is this, and I'm saying this to everybody. How you express yourself sexually with other grown consenting adults is nobody's business but yours. And the fact that in Trinidad and Tobago, it is a crime to do what the majority of freakish heterosexuals do regularly is insane. But we are an insane little country because this is not really an issue, you know. Like hijab girl getting placed in Hindu school so hijab girl could break down and cry, so Seth could fight Kamala, distract us with bullshit while billions of dollars are being stolen in Australia to buy bullshit boats that we don't need from a company that sold us bullshit boats that never worked. While that was going on, another company, another person in Trinidad and Tobago took state funds and paid it into a personal family trust to do state business. And we didn't know about that. We didn't talk about that. We talk about hijab girl. And we talk about if bullying is right or wrong. Now, listen, I am a Christian. I am a Catholic, but baptized. I was an acolyte in St. Teresa's Church from a very young age. When I outgrew being an acolyte, I was in the youth group. I made confirmation, first communion, all of that in St. Teresa's Church, Woodbrook, on the corner of Devertal, Warren Street and Robert Street. I was in Living Waters community, youngest covenant member at the time. I became a covenant member at 18. And I used to teach art classes to New Life Ministries, the drug addicts in the rehab center. I was very close with Clive Panton, the entire Panton family, and I was this close, swear to you, from joining the seminary. I have friends, Robert Lianos, Mike Lianos, Mike Devertal, Robert Lianos, Jason Gordon, and they're all priests now. One is a Monsignor, the other one is the Archbishop. I have priest friends, and for all of my life. And I'm saying that to tell you that my personal choice, and it's nobody else's business, my religion, who I choose to pray to, if I choose to pray at all, yours should be the same. Yours should be the same. We have a lot of things broken in society and broken in the world, and they need to be confronted. But they're not going to be confronted as long as we keep people in manufactured poverty. Now, if those religious leaders had gotten together to tell the state that the poverty being inflicted on the masses in this country is a crime against humanity, they would have gotten my full support. Full support. If they had come out to talk about the government's failure to secure the borders of this nation that allows drug barons to create turfs in Trinidad and Tobago where little children of poverty are executing one another with illegal guns that flow through this nation's borders on a beach where a police jeep just gets stuck in the mud, in the beach sand, and the government has done nothing. Not Keith Rowley, not Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, not Basdeo Pandey, not Patrick Manning, none of them. And you see the bullshit about the OPVs? Tell Patrick Manning to kiss this entire nation's half-red ass, because Patrick Manning only was buying OPVs because a fella named Nolson Gift organized that deal, and they know all those who was getting kickback. They know that. It was a criminal enterprise. Like Ostal, like this boat purchase. This boat purchase from Ostal in Australia is another criminal enterprise. Because every time you scratch the surface of every transaction done by the PNM, a PNM member benefits. And that PNM member work is to share the ill-gotten gains among all the bad men, among all the guys you see walking around with them ministers, sitting in the back seat of the Prados. Now the religious leaders the religious leaders were supposed to stand for the people, and they didn't. So I want to ask them one question. And I'm sorry that I have to ask this question on the eve of Eid. But I'm asking this question of all those religious leaders in that picture. Because Trinidad have to hear this. Each one of those religious leaders in that picture believe one thing with absolute certainty. All of them. All of them believe one thing with absolute certainty. That only their religion is real, and the rest of the people in the room are committing sacrilege, blasphemy, and are criminally insane to believe in anything other than what they believe. How could 6 people meet, each of them believing in a different God, each of them believing only their God real? So that means that you are in a meeting with 5 other people who are either mad or con artists. That's the question I want to ask tonight. If every religion believes only their God is real, how do all 6 of them get to be in the same room and that not be the conversation? How? Jason Gordon, as the Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago, broke the commandment, "Thou shalt put no other God before me," by being in the room with Sat Maharaj and whoever else of the Hindus, the Muslims, the Baptists, whoever. By being in the room, Archbishop Jason Gordon broke the commandment that says, put no, and this I can only speak as a Christian, put no other God before me. So I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, check this out. Check it out. Because if we want to live in a world where there was a time in this country, you could have killed a black man with impunity. Black people had no rights. They were less than property. In this country, East Indians who were brought here as indentured labor routinely died without so much as a name, so that they bury people with no tombstone. Throw you in a pit, you're dead. And we've come to the point where we understand that regardless of color, all people are people. Let's talk about marriage. Because they're talking about marriage was for Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I find that's a cool soundbite. Listen to that. Marriage. Forget Hallmark for a minute and the wedding planners. Forget that for a second. Just take a pen. Marriage was the transfer of property from buyer to seller. Usually, the seller is the father, the buyer, the groom. The reason that brides have veils is that 9 times out of 10, the groom never met the woman he was marrying before. They showed up, did a transaction. I'll give you a 1/4 acre of land, 4 bulls, 6 cows, 18 ducks, 3 goats, and a tractor. And I'll take a daughter. And that is what marriage was. Women at that time, up to the 50s, 60s, right here, up to that time, women couldn't own property, couldn't enter into transactions, couldn't do litigation. Women were property. When the priest asked, who gives this woman? That's not romance. Women couldn't exist without an owner, either a father or a husband. Understand what you're dealing with there. Understand it. Because I know when I get old, I'll hedge my bets too, like everybody else. Must be something outside there, because I don't want to dare to close my eyes forever. But I've had 4 major surgeries. And from all 4 of those surgeries, anesthetic, lights out. So I don't know. And I'm willing to admit, I don't know. But I'm saying, Marriage was never meant to be a romantic liaison connecting of a man and a woman. Marriage was the way a man bought a baby-making machine to make free labor for his farmland. That's what marriage was. From the Bible. That's what marriage was. That's it. So don't pretend. Now, the only reason marriage still exists now is because women became allowed to own to own property. And when women were allowed to own property, the marriage became a contract. Now, we could co-own, and when the marriage breaks, there is a transaction to share the marriage property. And I think that is all these people are asking for. And I want to be honest, because it sickens me how hypocritical we are. I know people of every creed, of every race, of every persuasion. I went to a farewell party once for a friend of mine. She was in the television industry, and her and my girlfriend, a girl who took me to this event, were the 3 only straight people there. The rest of the people were gay. And they were all having fun at my expense, and I was playing along because they were kicks in. And one of them said to me, because when it was time to say goodbye, everybody was being very huggy to Phillip, and the 2 girls were laughing, and it was fun. And I'm saying, thanks, I'm flattered, but I'm straight. Until tomorrow I said, even spaghetti straight till they boil it. I have learned to accept all human beings for who they are. When I read The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, my view of life and how people should live changed. And I understood the statement that we are all blessed by a kind and benevolent God who to cast off your garment but leave it in no other man's path. We are all given a time in this world for ourselves, not to mind other people's business. The structure of society, how it is set up now, is too invasive and too much bullshit. And for that reason, I think, especially the Christian religion, is hemorrhaging people. Because people want to come to something that helps everybody get along. And again, the question I want to ask is, of what merit is all of this religion to society, where all of them preach so much love and practice so much hate? I don't understand it. Before Jason Jones had his case and won his case, he used to talk to me a lot, seek advice. He came to the PEP office before the case to plan his strategy and to let us know what he was doing in case it didn't work out, so that we'll be aware. Because people of all persuasions, creeds, races, faiths, everybody is finding their way to the Progressive Empowerment Party because they realize only one organization is really about live and let live. Only one organization is really about let all the people prosper. Like a rising tide raises all boats. And we've been in denial for a long time. And I'm seeing so many things that are tearing apart this society. Another guy posted on Facebook, and I laughed. He said he approves of gays because not only are they not into girls, but usually they take another guy with them, freeing up more girls in the streets. So that's just being funny. And I want to say that it's time that we all as people started making sure that all our people get a chance at happiness in this time. You know, my brother, Paul Alexander, has a real problem with the church. And he wanted to engage lawyers and law enforcement, because when he was in St. Mary's College, he witnessed 2 boys being molested by priests. And he stumbled into that situation. And the problem he had was that there was no justice for those boys. And all of this will always come up. It will always come up when there is the hypocrisy of religious leaders judging everybody else and holding them to a different standard than they hold themselves. That's wrong. That's wrong. Totally, totally wrong. And I will never agree with that. And I will hemorrhage votes. I will gladly live the rest of my life never achieving political office, but knowing Phillip Edward Alexander is nobody's hypocrite. And I believe I have homosexual friends. I watch Tracy Shepherd and her longtime girlfriend, wife, whatever they call each other, Natalia. I am watching them mourning Natalia's mom and burying her today. And I have public friends who are publicly gay. And I wonder why we have to have a problem with how other people live their lives if it doesn't affect how we live our lives. I never understood that. I never understood at what point did religion become about let's enforce rules. And nobody explained why, because none of the rules, and if you're familiar with the Bible, if ever you pick up the Holy Bible, again, I can only speak as a Christian. If you open the book of Numbers, Leviticus, all are we going to hell. None are we making it to heaven. Just think like shrimp and lobster. All you think is only the Muslims and the Jews ban pork. Christians not supposed to be eating pork either. But Christians will eat pork wrapped in bacon because we choose the rules that we want to follow. And again, that's unfair. It's like the people who smoke weed. The people who smoke weed are no different to the people who drink alcohol. None, except maybe. And you know this because growing up, we had friends who used to drink plenty and we had friends who used to smoke weed. And in a party growing up as teenagers, when it would reach that time in the party when who drinking drunk and who smoking high, the weed smokers would be standing up by a speaker somewhere, bopping to the music, while the drunks running and jumping and winding themselves all over the place. And I used to watch that. Now, I can't smoke weed. I am one of those people who all drugs, I can't even have caffeine. All drugs have a negative effect on me. So me fighting for people who smoke weed to smoke weed, I think that we need to be a little more clear. Now, there is information in the public space that for some people who have a natural predisposition to certain mental defects, smoking marijuana could exacerbate it. But you need a situation where we decriminalize and we manage, because people are going to get weed and smoke weed anyway. But what we've done is we've created an environment where we're criminalizing people for doing what alcohol drinkers get to do for free. Now, alcohol is not legal, you know. Alcohol was decriminalized. There are onerous penalties and rules to trade in alcohol for a long time. Thursdays at lunchtime, all stores that sell alcohol used to have to come and put doors and plywood and cover down the alcohol because you couldn't sell alcohol then. There are rules to sell alcohol. You have to issue a license. If you have more than a certain amount of liters of alcohol in your house and you don't have a license for it, you're actually breaking the law. Alcohol was decriminalized and it is managed by the state through customs and police, seconded to customs and excise. That's what customs and excise was created for. Customs and excise was created to apply a tax to alcohol when it was decriminalized. Marijuana should be decriminalized. Weed, and this is where they linked. In nations, and you could Google this, in nations where weed is decriminalized, alcohol sales plummet. and Carib and Stag and Angostura frayed. That's why weed still illegal in Trinidad and Tobago. Because a progressive government would have decriminalized marijuana a long time ago, wiped the records clean of everybody they've ever arrested and charged for a personal amount of marijuana. Because I've seen people in the legal professions and big shots get equally charged and it never was recorded against their name. And that's a problem I have. But I ain't dealing with that tonight. I'm not dealing with the inequalities of society. We'll deal with that if ever you want a better country and you put a progressive empowerment party government in office, we'll fix those things. But right now, we're talking about reality. We could have the happiest, most blessed nation in the world. People who like to work will work. People who like to play will play. But we will get somewhere. Right now, we're getting nowhere and we're going there fast. We're going there fast. And instead of, because 5,000 people lost their lives by illegal guns fighting turf wars for drug barons in Trinidad and Tobago in the past 10 years alone. And those religious leaders didn't gather together for that. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that a lot of those religious leaders and priests smoking weed and wouldn't stand up and say, listen, we play in Dolly House in this country. A lot of people prefer to use marijuana than alcohol. Why we say they are criminals and they aren't? How did that happen? How did that become who we were? Why do we as a society, and listen, the Progressive Empowerment Party, I started by saying, we confronted and resolved all of these sacred cows. And we say, like the death penalty, it is the absolute law in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a law on the books, the final punishment. Judges sentence people to be hanged by the neck until dead, knowing it will never happen. Because this country is broken. The justice system is broken. There are no timers on any cases. So sentencing somebody to be hanged in a world where Pratt and Morgan is the standard, knowing that one appeal is all it takes to last longer than Pratt and Morgan, and 5 years, and then you commute. So then we frustrate our own law. So we, the Progressive Empowerment Party, we say, poll the nation. But then I learned something, and to be honest, you have to pay attention to this. When you have minorities in a country, you can't just poll the majority, because it will always work out against the minority. 4 wolves and a sheep voting to decide what to have for dinner, the sheep will lose every time. We need to make sure that as a country, we wake up to the rights of all citizens. And there are world standards in first world countries. There are about 60 countries in the world that don't make news. You don't discuss them. The only time you hear about them is you hear all the people come out and fire the government. All the people come out and jail the bankers. Countries like Iceland, Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, Norway, these countries figured this shit out long time ago. Holland, they're not on bullshit. They don't want to come and police who you sleeping with, who you praying to, live and let live. But don't litter. Don't litter. Don't take advantage. Don't misbehave in public office. Don't misuse your power over others. Those things they take seriously, as they should. Because the only purpose of government is to ensure that all citizens have the equal same chance at a just and prosperous life. We don't have that in Trinidad and Tobago. Here we have a very disproportionate and uneven society. We have to confront and resolve that. But I am saying to Trinidad and Tobago, there needs to be a wide separation between church and state. And you could be as pious and as devout as you want to be, and that must be your right. That must be your absolute right. The Christians were the first people who used to bend down, prostrate and pray, head to the ground. I know what inctus means. I know what the symbol of the fish means. I understood how far Christianity came. The Romans that eventually adopted Christianity and created Roman Catholicism used to rip living Christians apart in the Colosseum until it grew beyond them. Look, all I am saying is you should be as free to pray to whoever you pray to, as long as your religion doesn't distress anybody else or put anybody else's life in danger. That should be the mark. That should be the mark right there. You should be free, and you should also respect other people who don't believe what you believe. All of those religions, of the people gathered, some of them are mandated. They consider the other people in the room heathens. They actually have a mandate in their holy book to convert the rest. How at any point did that change to them ganging up on homosexuals? I think that is unfair. I really, really think that it is unfair. And I'm not getting into the argument about if homosexual sex is right or wrong. I mean, there are so many things that are practiced sexually by normal, everyday people in the confines, maybe even of a marriage, that used to be considered freakish behavior before. And who are we to judge? I keep looking for the manual. I keep looking for the handbook of being human. That the rules, these are the rules. Use this, fix this, try that. Can't find it. And I think that the only real solution to the injustice man meets out against each other is that we stop being each other's police and we start being, ironically, what all of those religions say, each other's brethren. It is time to go back to respecting, and I will never forget, and I bless the pantheon of gods that I grew up on O'Connor Street in Woodbrook. Because on O'Connor Street in Woodbrook, we had every creed, every race. We had Syrian, Chinese, African, Indian. My entire line was that. One of each. We had Muslim, Hindu, Baptist. We had a child with Down syndrome. I mean, we had everything. Growing up on O'Connor Street was such an experience of humanity that when I left Woodbrook and I found out that there were communities in Trinidad and Tobago that didn't like other people because of who they were or what their skin color was. I mean, it was a culture shock to me, especially as I, mixed breed as I am, and having been the son of a father who was one of the first people of Arab descent in Trinidad and Tobago to tell them, keep everything, he married the woman he loved. Now, the two of them just fight like cat and dog every day, still. And I just had dinner with them, and watching these two, how they love each other is their own dysfunctional madness. But they're still together nearly 60 years. And there's real pressure my parents face, excommunicated from the Syrian community. I grew up not knowing any Syrians at all. And I think that saved me, because I grew up knowing everybody else. I grew up knowing, well, I shouldn't say not knowing any Syrians. I didn't know any rich Syrians. I knew poor Syrians like us. And I say it like that to make a joke. This idea that any race or any religion or any persuasion is better than anybody else by virtue of exclusion is bullshit. Trust me on that. It is pure, unmitigated bullshit. People should be free to live their lives as they see fit, to sleep with who they want to sleep with, to pray to who they want to pray with, and as long as they do not break real law, I can't say real law because they can write bullshit law, as long as they don't put anybody else's life in danger or even discomfort, I don't have a problem. People ask me, well, what about if a weed smoker was flying your plane? Brother, I don't want a drunk flying my plane either. I want a sober person. flying that plane. I do not want a high weed smoker performing surgery on me. I do not want a drunk doctor performing surgery on me either. Since when was that the bar? Which way? Since when? Since when that if you decriminalize marijuana, the whole nation will smoke weed? That's bullshit. Alcohol is sold in the gas station. I don't really like to drink. I have alcohol in my house for if I have guests. I could serve those who want to drink, and I might take a little thing. But alcohol is not my friend. It takes me long. If I go out on a weekend and I drink, it takes me a long time to recover. I have a natural high, and I don't need alcohol to lower my inhibitions. I never had a problem initiating conversations with strangers. So I'm cool. I know alcohol and weed serves a purpose for people who are socially awkward or who have things that need suppressing. Sometimes you need the voices in your head quieted for a while. I get that. And I think that people should be free to do that too. I never agreed with the seatbelt law. I think if you want to crash and kill yourself, that should be your right. I never agreed with the seatbelt law. I think we've legislated way beyond where we were supposed to. Cigarettes legal. Cigarettes legal. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. Cigars became a thing. I tried cigars a couple times. It doesn't work for me. But that doesn't mean that because cigars don't work for me, I should want a law where cigars shouldn't work for you. When I said the other day that it is my view that politics and religion are going to be used to destroy humanity, other people asked me, if you were to become prime minister, would people still have the freedom to express their religion? And I had to say, absolutely. I want you to have the right to be as devout or as agnostic as you want to be, and stop the bullshit comparison. Because the atheists, not certain that there is nothing, and the religious people, for all the spiritual sweeties that you've experienced, we still don't know what there is beyond the mortal coil. We do not know. We do not know. We could tell each other because somebody else tell us that a divine hand from the sky wrote our holy book and it was handed down. Every religion has that. Every religion has their version of their beginning, and it's always divine and inspired. That's cool. You should be free to believe that. For a long time in my life, I believed in Christianity. In fact, this is the irony of it. One day, standing up in St. Finbar's Church, there's a projector that projects the hymns onto a screen so you can read and sing along as you go. And there is a particular prayer. Now, there was a time I used to mouth the Mass for the entire Mass because I knew all the Gospels. I was in the thing. I was really religious. And one time, for the first time, I was reading the Apostles' Creed on a screen. And I looked around at that packed church. Everybody staring at that screen, reading the I believe. And to me, that looked like pure brainwashing and mind control. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it anymore. It didn't work for me anymore. But that doesn't mean that I don't respect my parents who are extremely religious. My mother would do anything for the church, for Living Waters, on a phone call. And because it is my mother, they can have anything from me through her, my father. And at the end of the day, and this is the last thing I want to say on this issue, at the end of the day, I kind of hope that there is something beyond this life. I kind of hope that there is. But just in case there isn't, I want to make the best use that I can of this life. I want to live a life of balance. I want to make sure that I help more than I hurt. I want to make sure that I'm cognizant of my actions even when I make mistakes. I want to make sure that I do my part to make sure that the place I live, the community I live, the world I live is a little better off because I existed. I wanna help people in lower conditions than me. I wanna seek out the dispossessed and the homeless and the people who are broken, because there are people born into this world handicapped, incapacitated, that will never have the same advantages I have. Even if to get up and go to the bathroom, a person on a wheelchair doesn't have it as easy as I do. And I'm conscious of that. And I think that for the rest of my life, I want to enjoy life, but I do it in moderation. I don't need excesses. I like knowing that I like food, but I don't have to run down gold crusted steaks. I love a roti or bhaji rice, and I call it that. And I am happy. And I wish for everybody else that they find their happiness too, and that their happiness contributes positively to the world. At the end of the day, we all have one life to live. We have been entrusted, if we're lucky, with other souls, and those souls around us, we should try to make their lives better too. I like to measure my successes in how many people I have been able to help. That's what makes me feel good. You could find yours too. All I am saying, the purpose of this tonight is to say, we could all live in pure harmony. Tonight, I can't call no names, and if they're watching, I acknowledge them. Tonight at my meeting, 2 strangers came to meet me. 2 strangers together. One black as a blackboard, the other as Indian as they could be. 2 of them walking to meet me. Friends that come to meet me to say the Progressive Empowerment Party is the only party that they could have joined, that the PNM don't represent them, and the UNC don't represent them, and they're there tonight to see how they could get involved and how they could help. And I say, partners, welcome home. We're trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, get to a better country. Today's meeting was about getting ready for Saturday's launch of our 2 candidates for Belmont East and Barataria. For the first time in the history of this country, a 17-month-old party is already ready to fight elections. We have 2 fantastic candidates, hit all the optics that we needed to hit, and still brought intelligent people to the conversation. This is PNM and UNC bullshit. This is the real McCoy, and you will see it yourself if you come out Saturday at 6 p.m. Pigot's Corner in Belmont. And we're going where the people are. We're going in every community in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're bringing a message of good news. We're bringing a message. I had to tell a white chap tonight in the gas station. I stopped to fill my tank, and everybody knows me now as Phillip. So when people say, hey Phillip, I respond like, I know you forever, whether I know you forever or not, because people seem to be claiming me now. And he said, he wanted to talk politics, so we talk about politics, and and he's telling me his opinion, and I say, you know what? All that you're saying is a fact, and I want to tell you something else. It could all fix. It could all fix. There is nothing in this country that is wrong that cannot be fixed. And everybody who has abused this country could be brought to justice. We could prosecute the criminals. We could repatriate this nation's wealth. We could diversify the economy. We could build 41 different water producing facilities to make sure that every constituency has water. We can make every school in Trinidad and Tobago a prestige school, remove the SEA, zone the schools, make all schools 10-year schools, so the children grow together from babyhood to young teenage, and their parents grow with the teenagers for the career of their children. We could make sure that all constituencies have first world public health care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and outfitted with the best and still save money. We could make sure that everybody who wants a job could get a job, and everybody who has a job and wants to own a home could. We just want to fix those things. And we know that it is easy to fix. And I had to tell him, if you want to, and he was getting on in life, if you want a legacy, let it be that you took a chance on a real opportunity. We didn't name this political organization the Progressive Empowerment Party for joke. We are an organization that espouses the most progressive policies that empowers all the people. When I hear PNM people saying like a rising tide lifts all boats, I have to laugh. I felt a little proud. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But no, you could mute PNM and UNC and I talk and you swear they say my words. But that's what's going on. They bankrupt. Morgan Job used to call them, what? Intellectually bankrupt and inane. And he didn't lie. He went to his grave believing that these politicians had nothing of substance to bring to the table. I'm watching Keith Rowley crossing swords with Michael Harris in the Express and calling Michael Harris a UNC. And when the UNC was in office, Anand Ramlogan called Michael Harris a PNM. What happens with these political parties is that they see people who are not willing to buy their bullshit and toe their bullshit line, and they'll call them one or the other. I remember there was a guy named Rudy Paul. When I was handling the communications for Gary Griffith, I never told Rudy this, you know. But when I was handling the communications for Gary Griffith, we could have managed everybody. We could have managed everybody, and Gary was willing to manage everybody. But the only person who wasn't buying Gary or buying the story or towing UNC party line was a fellow by the name of Rudy Paul. And Rudy Paul is an advisor to the Progressive Empowerment Party. Even he, who didn't want anything to do with the PNM and the UNC, find a home. Let me tell you something. For all of you who want a better country, the reality is it's not going to be found in the PNM and the UNC. If the PNM or the UNC had an interest in this country, the police service would be working, healthcare would be working, water for all on this 2x4 little island would have been a reality. We would have secured this nation's borders. The police service would have been incentivized and motivated, professional, and taken care of, and all of our fire service and ambulance. We could have had, still can, but we could have had the best nation in the world. Trinidad and Tobago had enough money to shame Dubai and countries like that. We could have been better than the Dubai of the Western world. It is still not too late, but it is getting there, and there is a solution. And if you want a better country, you're gonna have to get involved. What is too late? Too late is in 2002, we knew Clico CL Financial was technically insolvent. Functionally, it was collapsing. We didn't know that the supervisor of insurance was a flim-flam. We didn't know that the central bank governor was a joke. We didn't know that the ministers of finance for both the PNM and the UNC will be holding to Clico and CL Financial. We weren't aware of the deal struck with Dupre and Manning and Pandey. We didn't realize the power and the impact Montai and Carlos John and the rest of the Clico CL people in these parties that came to government and shielded Clico and CL Financial from the scrutiny that should have followed it since 2002. But it didn't. And that company was allowed to collapse and almost drag down this nation's economy because there was nobody providing oversight. PricewaterhouseCoopers published fiction as accounts. They should have been, the people who were responsible for that should have been jailed for that, but not in Trinidad and Tobago. In Trinidad and Tobago, got a promotion. The fictional accounts were sent to the accounting committee. I want Faris Al-Rawi as Attorney General to bring up on charges every single member of the accounting committee of CLICO and CL Financial that abandoned their fiduciary responsibility and signed off on those fake accounts that allowed the rump and the plunder and the pillage of that company to continue, and then throw it on the people of Trinidad and Tobago and say it's too big to fail.
If it is that who you're voting, baby, you're not out. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the proven to be your equal amount, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change must come about, just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Steal your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out.
And on July 16th, you have the opportunity to vote them out twice in Belmont East and in Barataria. Two communities that are suffering, bent and broken by the yoke of the PNM and the UNC fake promises and false government. You have an opportunity to put an orange light to shine in government in Trinidad and Tobago and let them know, send it as a message that this is the change that is coming. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have always deserved a better nation, but we didn't know how to go about doing it. We have that chance now. We have a real opportunity. Don't waste it.
Put them out in total squad and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate the reign. Let's put our country together again. If for 30 years you voted them in, and result tears as soon as they win, they give you big words and enslave your soul, promising you roads and giving potholes.
Ask yourself, still to this day, the Progressive Empowerment Party and me have been asking, where is the money from the pitch league? Understand this. In the next 10 years, the population of cars, buses, and trucks in the world will double again. And all of those cars, buses, and trucks are driving on aging global infrastructure. Our pitch, Trinidad and Tobago pitch, is sought after the world over to maintain crumbling infrastructure. China just agreed to a multi-hundred million US dollar transaction, and still we do not know who owns our pitch lake and where that money is going. And I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago again, that is starting to reek, that is starting to smell like a real criminal enterprise. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, need to put into government a political organization willing to unmask all of this and to expose the dank and fetid atmosphere that has been this country for the last 30, even the last 56 years. Corruption and thieves have run amok and have stolen your and your children's future. It is time to change that.
If they are the reason why the economy goes round, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can out, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building ISOs, east, west, north, and south, they say where you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally.
overseas peppers and local Trinidadians and Tobagonians who want a better country, we need to raise funds for these elections. As you know, we are not honorary citizens of Afghanistan. We do not have any deep pocket financiers, nor do we want any. We want to build a party of the people, by the people, for the people. And to do that, we are staying away and eschewing those who want to give donations in exchange for favored contractor status. We're not about the bullshit. We're not about the corruption. We're about a better Trinidad and Tobago. But to do that, we're going to need your help. As much as possible, we eat a little to live long, but even the little we're trying to eat have a cost to it. And we need to pay for things like advertising and promotion, and we need to get past the Sabga News Network and massive media blackout against the Progressive Empowerment Party, and we need your help to do that. And every little bit helps, from $10, $100, $1,000 to anything that you could afford. If you're interested in assisting us in any way financially, there are multiples of ways. You could reach out to any of the members, all of the usual suspects. You should find them on the threads, and you could reach out to Felicia Holder, Dilwood Braffett, Ali G, Trini Mamu, Rohan San, Sarah Nabi, Shari Wilson, Lima McLeod Wilkinson, Christoph Samlal, Debbie Lee Jaikaran. Reach out to any member of the entire team, Jacques-Claude, and Jacques-Claude, our own Frenchman. You can reach out to any of the members on the wall, and they will be able to guide you. You will see the PEP members have frames on their pictures, on their profile pictures. You can reach out to any of them and ask them for guidance and advice. How to give money to the party. We desperately need your help. Please do what you can to help us rescue the country.
If their policy is a fantasy, bureaucracy, a catastrophe, if they can afford and you see it so, then your only hope is for them to go. If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, move them on, move them on. If it is a frustration, that's make you want to shout, when you're voting, move them on, move them on. Before they misuse out, cheap bucks and out and digs out. If it you vote them in, move them on. Register and move them on. All of them, move them on. Stick your finger and move them on. Them on the system, move them on.
Them on the system.
Voting Scarborough and in border spend. Let's put our country together again. Put them out in Kabuto and in Laromen. Let's put our country together again.
Somebody shared something with me today, and I know that I have a forum and a continuous forum because people continue to watch these videos long after the show is done. And there's something that somebody shared today, and it was so telling, it was so moving that I wanted to add it into the public record. I wanted to say it out loud. I wanted to get my friends to share it with other friends, and it is so very true. And you could say it your way. I will share the post that they gave me on my wall after, but this is so very true, and pay attention to this. Instead of telling kids that only sticks and stones can break their bones, but words can never hurt them, we should tell them the truth. Words can hurt them. Words are very powerful and can lift or crush others, especially young people who don't have a solid sense of self as yet. Teach them empathy and to use words only in a loving way. Words can help people to achieve things they weren't sure they could, and words can bring people down to depression, despair, or suicide if their self-worth was already low. Teach them that true power is in helping to build good, strong spirits, not to tear them down. These are the lessons we need to be teaching our people. We need to be teaching our young children to live as creatures of love and harmony. Learn to get along. Every creed and race, all are we is one family. This is what we should be teaching our children. Not to whine and twerk and get drunk and high. Come on, man. 16, we have that opportunity to put our country together again. Small steps lead to long destinations being achieved. We have that power together. Register, make sure you are the people. This is for the people of Belmont East and Barataria. The entire country is looking at you now. You could send a message that rocks the roots of the vampire system. You could come out in your numbers and vote orange. You could come out in your numbers and vote the Progressive Empowerment Party into government in those 2 tiny little districts, and we will show you what real representation looks like. It'll be an embarrassment of service. People on either side of the borders of your community will lie and say they live by you. We will work together with all the people in the community to send a message to the nation that this is what government is supposed to do. This is what government is supposed to look like. The well-being of the citizenry is the function, purpose, and reason for government. And we believe that, and we want to live that. We want to show you that in service. The reality of our situation is that can't get done without your help. And that help starts with your vote. Those of you who would like to help, we're meeting Friday morning at 10:30, this Friday Eid. And I asked and I checked with the Muslim community and my Islamic brothers and sisters, and I asked, would it be disrespectful to your religion if we did a walkabout politically on Eid? And they said, no, that is, in fact, they were very impressed that we asked. And we just want to live and let live. That is going to be our policy forever. Anyway, we're meeting at the Progressive Empowerment Party headquarters office at 10:30 this Friday morning to go and do a walkabout in the communities. If you'd like to be a part of that, come and join us, bring the family. It's a family affair. It's all of us getting together to sing in joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again. This is going to sound like a stuck record. We need financial help. We really, really, really need it. Now, we will survive. We will barbecue, we will wash car, we will throw party, we will have curricue, and we will survive. Don't worry about that. So if you feel, and if our haters or the sycophants feel like withhold money and they will die, we ain't going nowhere. Progressive Empowerment Party here to stay. We come to change the political climate and make a better country. But you can help us get further along faster, and that's entirely up to you. All of our finances are open to scrutiny, whatever little we have, and you could come and be a part of this organization. If you would like to come and write a check and give us some support, and you can reach out, if you're overseas, you can reach out to Maya Khan, you can reach out to Ali G, you can reach out to the Sinanan family, Anthony and Joan, you can reach out to Dilwood Braffett, reach out to any of the team members. If you know any of us personally and you want to walk and say, look at $5,000, this election costing us about $30,000. And you want to come and say, look at $10,000 and bless you, do good with that. We're doing good with that. We're doing good with that, but it can't be any strings attached. We don't have strings. We don't know how to do that. What we want is a better country. We want to work better with you. We want to make sure that at the end of the day, what we accomplished as a people, as a government, as a nation, is a place where your children could play in peace and you could grow all in harmony and happiness. And we could have healthcare and education that works and delivers. A country where the people could actually have a life. This madness, none of this is a broken country. Nothing works. Nothing works in Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing. Stunt artists and circus clowns in the parliament. They're fed up with that. It's time to change. It's time to change all of that. It's time to vote for real change. The Progressive Empowerment Party is the only option. Where's the MSJ? Where's the COP? Was Basdeo Pandey New Puppet Party? Where's the PAC? None of them. Not one. Not one willing to put their money where their mouth is and to stand up for the people of Belmont East and Barataria. 17 months old, and the Progressive Empowerment Party is more than willing to stand with us. Stand with us and we will stand with you. Friday at 19 Stanmore Avenue, our headquarters. Come and join us. Tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow I'm on the radio at 11 o'clock with Robert Amar on 104.7 as I am every week. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is Frontline. Janice Lemon Creaky is going to interview one of the upcoming candidates for the election. I think it is the Belmont East candidate. So you're going to want to see that. So until we talk tomorrow, stay very safe, Trinidad and Tobago.